Hi everyone, Mark from Audio Pursuit. And in this episode, I want to give a shout out to two fellow YouTube audio reviewers. And as well, to give a challenge to all of us in the review community. The first is Steve Huff. Now, Steve's been doing this for quite a number of years. He's examined a great deal of gear. But what was interesting is in this episode that he created, he talked about the fact that how he had this end game gear they thought was just the ultimate mountaintop for him. And then he sold it off and went to something more simple. And he found as much satisfaction. Well, that really hit home because, there's a tendency for all of us to start chasing the audio dragon. And when we do so, we kind of forget about the music. It becomes about the gear. And Steve, to his credit, gave a really neat visual concept. He started off by saying, he was tilted way over this way towards gear. And in the last few years, he's come to realize now it's about the music. And he's right. So often we're so busy just going after trying to hear, something exceptional. And then within few months, we start saying, I wonder if I can improve this little part or this little part. Now, granted, it's good in some ways for audio businesses. Those manufacturers, they love people like us that do that. But at the same time, it becomes just what Alan Parsons once quoted, is that audiophiles are people who are busy listening to their equipment and not to the music. But to you, Steve, I give you a great deal of credit because you made me pause. And I'm going to bet you made a lot of other audiophiles, audio fanatics, audio fans take notice and do a little self-examination and ask ourselves, are we really just trying to continue to climb the never-ending mountain? Or do we just sit back and enjoy the music? So to you, Steve, I say thank you. Second person is my good friend Sean Fowler of Zero Fidelity. Now, Sean, he does things in a unique way. He doesn't talk about certain albums and things like that. What Sean focuses in is the equipment and, just what the expectation should be. Well, about a week to 10 days ago, he posted the KEF R3 Meta review. Now, he went into first details explaining about the differences with the Meta and, what it looks like and the build quality and that sort of thing. But where he really hit the nail on the head was in the conclusion. Because instead of saying the word conclusion, he uses the term caveat. And that's a great term. And no, I'm not going to steal it, but it really is true because every piece of equipment has a caveat. Now, in the budget world, there's more caveats. In the uber high end, they're minuscule in some ways, but for some people, it's a big deal. But when he explained his caveats, he did it in such a way as to say, hey, these are the great qualities of KEF speakers. They have a certain sound to them, which is very true. They don't sound like Harbeth. They don't sound like some other, really deep, rich brands. No, they're very dynamic. And he was really good about explaining that. Plus, Sean did an excellent job talking about the differences you'll hear from the R3 to the R3 Meta. But in that caveat, he also said something really important. These R3 Metas are wonderful speakers, but here's the thing. Here's the things you're not going to hear. Here's its limitations. And by being honest with the audience, without, patronizing people and, just kind of glossing over, he really did an exceptional job. and something that anybody interested in that speaker should really take the time to hear his review. So kudos to you as well, my good friend. Did well. Now, one final thing that I want to say. And I want to give a challenge to my fellow reviewers, and there's a lot of us out there. And I've noticed that, for the most part, we all follow the old school of audio reviewing, which is we take our time, we listen day after day after day, and then we give our review. Because the psychology tells us of the human brain, it absolutely emphasizes the fact that, guess what? We hear differently at different times of the day and in different moods. When we're in a good mood, we'll hear something differently than when we're in a foul mood or a distracted mood. Sometimes we hear differently in the morning versus in the evening. And unless we take the time to really listen to gear day after day after day, we are doing a disservice to the audiophile community. So what I want to do is I want to challenge everybody. Is that in our notes on our YouTube reviews, let's put how many hours we actually sat down with our ears in focused listening. Not casual when we're doing something else, but really when we're in our review mindset. Let's list those hours, because I think it's important that we owe it to the audio community to give our best effort. And unless we do that, we're failing them and we're failing ourselves. So there's the challenge. Let's post our hours in seat in listening time. Till next time, take care.